I'm at my mother's.
Oh, all right, nice. Where's mom?
Henderson?
Oh, wow, right here. Okay, that's cool. Right down the street.
Oh,
then.
you're in Henderson?
Well, I'm actually in Naked City, right behind the Strat, but I used to live in Henderson, right off a Wagon Wheel.
Oh, I get pot right by the Strat.
Oh, perfect. I might know your guy who knows my guy.
It's Bankroll.
Oh, okay, okay.
A little Latino guy named Bankroll, and it's
like
all
him already.
underground. And sometimes he has entertainment. I saw Black Batman, and there's a street there where it's all getting ready to be knocked down on one side, and across it's just this little house office place, and that's where he is now.
That's where, if I need him, if I need some weed, that's where I go.
And then a friend of mine lived in the Las Vegas Country Club.
Oh yeah.
And we could see the Strat lit up every night. It was that close.
But who lived there?
Carl LeBeau did.
So I used to be roommates twice with Stephen Pearl.
Well, I'm sorry for you.
No strings attached.
What military branch were you in?
Army. What about you?
Well, did that prepare you for Stephen Pearl at all?
The energy of a ferret.
How many cats did he have then?
What?
How many cats did he have then?
3. I was there when the one cat scratched the other cat's eye out.
Ah, the times, huh?
Going back to the great times.
Yes. It's sad that we lost Carl. I never got to meet him.
Very nice guy.
Carl LeBeau, yeah, wow.
I bet you have a lot of stories in you. We got to get to some of those. Let me read your intro so people know who they're looking at. You guys, welcome to Comic Spot. This is interview number 906 because I'm an overachiever. And today, okay, OCD, whatever. And today we have an esteemed guest. Now, Dan Mackey's got a red shirt on, so you can differentiate him easily from me. Hi, Dan. Dan's going to co-interview. And today our esteemed guest is the Allan Stephan.
Yeah.
And if you're a good human being, which millennials should be if they're woke, you should go Google him. And when you get done, check back with me in about a month and you'll learn a lot about him. Here's a little bit of a synopsis about his life. Allan Stephan has a much deserved reputation as one of the quickest and funniest off-the-cuff comics working today. Using his brand of conversational humor coupled with finely honed improvisational skills, Stephan has been able to take his best material and work the audience based upon what they want to hear. And I witnessed it, and so did Dan at Wiseguys. We saw that in action. He's headlined every major club in the country, and for 6 years played the sold-out casinos and arenas with the notorious outlaws of comedy, with comedian Sam Kinison. Google up Outlaws of Comedy, you people. He's on just 1 minute while I figure out what I'm doing. He's also opened for many famous acts, including Harry Belafonte, Tony Bennett, Smokey Robinson, Kenny Loggins, just to name a few. After numerous, this doesn't want to cooperate with me. After numerous appearances on television, including The Tonight Show, Allan turned to writing in the mid-90s. He soon became the executive producer on the hit TV show Roseanne and served as co-executive producer, I guess, on HBO's Airless. He was nominated for a WGA award in 2007 for a show he co-created called Assume the Position. Reminds me of my marriage. With Mr. Wool, WHL, on HBO. Allan's also been nominated for an Image Award and recognized for his contributions in television, writing that enriches the human condition with a humanities certificate. And that is so important I have to read it again. Recognized for his contributions in television writing that enriches the human condition with a humanitas certificate. Allan's done many pilots and specials along the way, including some for MTV, Disney, Nickelodeon, and Sony. Stephen's humor can best be described as a cross between the down-home manner of your favorite uncle and the acerbic tongue of a Doonesbury Far Side comic strip. To quote a recent reviewer, Stephen's refreshing act turns on audience participation. Dan and I witnessed that. The way he approaches and integrates members of the audience into his comic pattern is remarkable. This constant interaction, coming with ease and agility, appears more natural than rehearsed and bonds the performer and the audience in more ways than laughter. And that is why he's the legend that he's here that we're going to talk about. Welcome him right now to Comic Spot, Allan Stephan.
Hello, hello, hello.
Woo!
Good to see you this morning.
What's that?
Good to see you this morning, Allan.
Oh, good to see you too.
Good to see you. Yes, thank you for coming on, Allan.
You're welcome.
So, where were you born and raised? Let's get to the nitty-gritty stuff I do.
South Jersey, and I moved to California in '75.
Where in California did you go?
Hollywood, West
Oh.
Hollywood.
West Hollywood. Awesome. So you, as the little kid growing up, I got to picture this. I'm trying to do this. Paint us a picture who you were at your house with your siblings, parents, relatives, and in school.
I didn't like school.
Yeah, wasn't a fan. So what brought you from Jersey to you went from the East Coast to the West Coast. What brought you from coast to coast?
Acting. Had no desire to be a comic.
Wow, all right. So it was acting for you. How did you find that comedy then?
I can't tell a joke. I have trouble remembering jokes. And I met a comedian named Mitchell Walters, who has since passed, on a rooftop party somewhere. And I hung out with him and a guy named Robert Lord that eventually I think was institutionalized. And they were at the Comedy Store. And at the time they needed comedians. It's not like now where you can open your door and they're standing there. They were far between. So I went to the Comedy Store and they convinced me to audition for Mitzi. And then I decided I'd try comedy.
Tell me how that went when you auditioned with Mitzi.
Well, the good news is they needed comics. Years later, I don't know if it would have been so easy for me because there was nothing there. In fact, at one point she said, don't try to tell jokes and I'll let you MC the entire night. Don't tell a joke. So I guess she thought I would just stand there and say, here's the next guy. But I was able to develop what you now see that way.
Absolutely. How long did you host there under her tutelage?
Oh, not long, because I was a regular and she had a couple places. So mostly I was in Westwood, and she had a system. Then you'd move to Sunset Original Room, then to the main room, then to La Jolla, and from La Jolla eventually to Vegas. So it was good.
So you moved from the East Coast to the West Coast to pursue acting and never got into acting, went into comedy.
I did. I was playing baseball in '76 or '7 with the Comedy Store softball team, whatever it was. Maybe it was hardball. I don't know.
Didn't even know they had a softball team. Did you have anybody?
What's
Did you
that?
have anybody on your softball team that was who'd you play with on your softball team?
Oh, geez, everybody became famous. It was a different time. Everybody I worked with became famous. Plus, you had to follow stars. You had to follow Rodney and Pryor and Martin and Crystal and
oh my goodness,
Robin when the time came. So it was a different training ground, not like now. you would sink or swim. That was that. What was the question before that?
Did you have another question, Dan?
Oh, no, I don't recall. I'm sorry.
So when you were playing softball,
Oh,
what position did you play, and what are some funny stories?
we all moved around. I just remember a girl came up to me and said, "Do you want to be in a movie?" And I said, "Beat it." And she came back with this guy that, probably now is much younger than me, but he said his name and I kind of recognized it. And he said, "Would you audition for a movie?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And he directed a great movie called Missiles of October. That was critically acclaimed for a lot of reasons. And I went and auditioned, and they said I looked too old to play my age. So I went home. 3 nights later, I was living with Mitchell Walters. I get a call. I get in at maybe 3:30 in the morning. Don't even know how I got there. And Mitchell has coffee brewing. I go, "What's the matter?" He goes, "The movie called. You start in 3 hours." I go,
Oh,
"I
boy.
don't even know where the car is." So at 6:30 in the morning, I had never even been to the valley at this point where they were shooting at this dam. And there was a hill, and I took a step and went flying. And I'm just flat on my back. And somebody leans in and goes, "This guy's drunk." So they proceed to give me coffee. Nobody will talk to me. Nobody will come near me. And at lunchtime, I'm sitting under a tree, and this little girl sits down, extremely like Elizabeth Taylor color eyes, like violet. And she said, "Nobody likes you." And I go, "Well, I'm not here to make friends." I go, "Plus, I never even heard of these people, let alone the star of this movie." And it went on like that. After lunch, they go, "Let's do your close-ups." So they set it up, and here comes this little girl, and she sits just above the camera. And I start my lines, and she moons me. So I start laughing, and the director goes, "We had about enough of you." And I said, "What can you say?" So when it's all done, I go, "Who the hell are you?" She goes, "The star of the movie. It was called I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. It was Kathleen Quinlan." So I get through the day, and I have a bizarre way of connecting with people. Anyway, I wind up, she's very tired, and I'm in her trailer. And the producers who can't stand me think I'm gone. And they knock on her trailer door, and I go, "Yeah." And they go, "What the hell are you doing in there?" I go, "She's tired. What can I do for you? The day's done." He goes, "Well, we'd like her to do one more shot. Then we won't have to do it again. We can wrap this film today." I said, "Well, she's pretty, give me a minute." So I go in and I go, "I'll go with you. Let's finish this." So I come and I go, "She needs 10 minutes. And the guy goes, "Who the hell are you?" And that film did pretty good for its time. And here's the kicker to it. At that time, I looked like Mel Gibson.
Wow.
So if you were to find a box set of it, the video would actually say uncredited Mel Gibson. So when I learned this, I called the Guild and I said, "He's not getting my residual checks, is he?" And they said, "Why would he get them?" I go, "This is going to sound strange, but I used to look like Mel Gibson." I said, "Unfortunately, he now looks like me, and I want to make sure he's not getting my checks."
That's funny.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
funny.
So I hope that you don't have the same kind of rants that he does.
Talented man. That's all I can say.
He's got a wide range. That's for sure.
That's exactly right.
Tell us some other stories, because you've done so much. I want to know something good about Roseanne. I'm sick of hearing about the negative side. Tell us something really benevolent and wonderful about her no one knows.
Well, first, I found her on an amateur night in Denver.
Wow.
And I had her open for me. The club didn't want her even on the stage. They didn't like her. And I said, "Well, it's too bad. I'll leave." And then Louis Anderson helped her, and then we convinced her to come to California. So it's one of my best friends. So I have a whole different view of everybody's nonsense.
Yeah.
Number one, let's take the recent occurrence. She didn't say what they said she said.
Oh.
It's that's what the media is, and they run with it. And you know, when you're on top and you're outspoken, they come after you. And I think they were lying in wait for her. But what she said is Planet of the Apes, and she only saw the first one, which to her represented anarchy, meets whoever this woman was, who she thought was white, gives you anarchy. That's basically what the statement was. Never called anybody a monkey. It's just a sad case of bullshit. Wow. And if you apologize, you're doomed. And if you leave it alone, you're doomed. So you just got to ride it out. Roll with it. But she's a very good person, very generous, good mom. You know, a lot of what you hear in the media was one-sided. When I get to that show, it is very much her against everybody. And it's hard when you have 26 writers, 8 of which are executives and could care less about the others, and they know what's funny. You know, Hollywood tends to hire people and then go, but here's what we need you to do. Like Margaret's show, many years ago, I was in her manager's office. I had some power then, so I forget why I was there. Anyway, the network calls her manager and says, she's overweight. We don't want any more of the mom jokes. And anyway, it's everything they hired her for. So he hung up. And I said, you're not going to call and tell her that, are you? He said, yeah. And I go, I would have hung up on them and said, fuck you, cancel the show. I go, she could handle that better than the bullshit you're going to drop on her. Wow. And when I got to the Roseanne show, you know, for every joke in the script, they write 10. And a few of the powers that be pick the one that goes in. God forbid they should ask the comedian. And if she didn't like it, she would walk off. So people said she was difficult. I once say to a writer's assistant, what do you do with all those jokes they don't pick? And she hands me a book that's like 4 feet deep. And I go, what's this? She goes, all the jokes for every script. So I went down and I put it in front of Roseanne and I go, if you don't like the one in the script, pick another one. And she goes, where'd you get this? I go, it's been here for the last 4.5 years. She'd never seen it, never heard of it. Wow. So, you know, I have a different opinion on what went on there. I didn't like the writers either. They're morons, spoiled, 2 chefs, 3 closets full of treats. They stay there longer than they have to. They make it seem like it's difficult. And I just can't explain the system. It's just terrible. And a lot of them, and I'm not knocking college writers, but I guess I am. They don't experience funny every night. Roseanne's on the stage. I'm on the stage. So when I first started there and have to pitch jokes, they put me in a room with other guys, and the guy pitching the jokes would kill them. So one day I just said, here, I'll make myself my own room. And I came in and I read my one joke. That's all I wrote. You're supposed to have a bunch for every, you know. And the whole room laughed. They go, what else do you have? And I go, what else do I need? Everybody just laughed. I go, I do this every night. I do a lot of it off the top of my head. I have to know what works immediately. Well, what else do you have? I go, that's it, and that's going in. And it did. But they'll sit there and, you know, Mike Binder, a comic and a director, he was on Mom for like a season. And he called me up and he goes, how do you sit for 7 hours in a room and discuss a fart joke? I go, I don't, but they do. You know, when I took over the show, I go, I'm out of here at 7. They go, what if nothing's done? I go, see you in the morning. It's not going to get any better at 2 a.m. with a bunch of burnout people. But, you know, they just thought I was the next Tom Arnold, so I didn't really give a shit.
I want to know, before I turn it over for Dan's questions, I want to know, I've watched you at Wiseguys. I had my eye on you. I was watching you. You're a comic. You care about the other comedians. I've seen you high five people coming off stage. Even I don't know, the lady that's been married 63 years, Emma, what you
She
high.
floored me. She floored me. Well, I
Yeah.
also found that at that particular place, the comics are very supportive of each other, which isn't so much in LA. It was in the old days. I can't even explain the way I came up in comedy. If somebody we knew was on stage, we could heckle them. We had goofy routines we'd do together that made it look like we were going after each other. And then I went away for a while and I came back. And if you opened your mouth, the comic on stage would literally go, why are you talking to me? And they go, what the hell's happening here? Did you ever hear of a comic named Kipadata?
Yes.
All right. When the comedy first started being homogenized with too much TV, he calls me up from Illinois in the middle of nowhere. And he goes, Allan, it's over. I go, what's over? He goes, comedy, it's over. I go, why would you say that? He says, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and the guy pumping the gas in my car recognizes me. And if you know Kip, he probably, got all high and mighty with a big smile. And he says, and he looks me right in the face and goes, hey, I'm a comic too. I'm at the bowling alley tonight. Want to come see me? It's over, Allan. It's over.
That's great.
So what in your past that you've been through, how you were raised, makes you so caring about other people?
Well, I bet you there's a bunch of people that would argue that with you. When you're working for me, I don't ask you to do anything I can't do. And I had my thyroid out in the 90s, so sometimes I would have mood swings. But unless you're in a wheelchair, it means nothing to anybody. And but I've helped comics, not just comics, writers. There was a young girl. We had the rights to Ab Fab, that British show at one point. And a young girl, she might have been 20, sent a script, said, I'd like to write on Ab Fab. Well, the show didn't go. So I said, well, let's just hire her for Roseanne. And she showed up with green hair or whatever. Pretty soon, they got to her. But the end of the story is she winds up at King of the Hill with a couple Emmys.
Wow.
No career at all if I don't step up to the plate. But I just do it because that's me. There was on the lot where we shot, they would call me Luca Brasi. I wasn't anybody's favorite. And a kid, a PA, not on my show. All the PAs wanted to be on my show because I put them in scenes. But this one kid was a general PA on the lot. And I guess he printed up his own newspaper once a week. And I accidentally got a copy. And there was an article on what kind of devil I am. So I called him into the office, but it was funny. And I called him into the office and he's literally shaking. And I turn it around and I go, did you write this? He goes, yeah. And I go, what would make you write this? He goes, wait, you got to know nobody likes you. I go, I'm well aware of that. But don't you think this is a little ballsy? Well, you weren't supposed to get it. I go, I got to tell you, if it wasn't funny, I'd be disturbed. Can you write? He went, what? I go, I'm going to do a sketch show in 2 months and I need writers. Show up with 10 sketches in the next 4 days. I put them on the show 4 days later. First to turn on me.
Oh, that's fabulous.
But, along the route, I helped Sam Kinison. I helped Robert. Almost everything Robert Wall did in his entire career was basically written with me. A lot of comics I used to write for. The reason they'd ask me is some guys just buy jokes. I would tailor it so it didn't look like you bought the joke. It looked like you did it. I was able to get into their rhythms. So for a while, I didn't even want to be a writer. I needed money when I left the Outlaws of Comedy. So everybody wanted me to write. So I go, well, I'm like a lawyer. I'm $1,000 up front and I'll tell you when it's up. Who's going to take that? This is like 92. Who's going to take that? Well, apparently a lot of people.
Wow.
Some didn't even show up. They just gave me the 1,000 to say Allan was going to write for me.
Perfect.
Skippy from Family Ties. I owe him jokes.
Oh yeah. I'm still waiting for him. I'm still waiting for him.
George Wallace, I would do jokes for prior. A lot of people. My first joke I ever sold was to Jimmy Walker, who had done the Tonight Show a few times. But when he did my joke, it's the first time he got applause. So in those days, he owned everybody. He had a management company. He had Leno, Letterman, Boozler, you name it, and they all wrote for him.
That's astounding. Holy boy.
So Jimmy's management company sent me a letter, would I like to write for him, not realizing I'd be with great people and I don't have to go out of town. It pays. And there was a sheet that followed with 3 columns of what Jimmy won't say. Jimmy won't say the N-word. Jimmy won't say dynamite. Jimmy won't. So at the bottom I wrote, let me know when Jimmy wants to be funny. Never, ever discussed it with him. And about 5-6 years ago, he wrote his bio. And in there, he tells a story of why he came to me and who the hell turns down a job.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Tell me, Dan, one more question I got to ask, and then it's all your questions. I want to hear something about you and Sam Kinison. Got to hear it.
Well, they're all horror stories.
Prize.
Let me think of one I could tell you. I have a couple that take a little while. I'm trying to think of a short one. I'm from Jersey, and I love Jersey peaches. And we're on tour, but we're driving ourselves at this point in a van. And when you go through Arizona, they check to see if you have plants, because they don't want you bringing them into California.
Fruits or vegetables.
Yeah, and he's always has drugs on him, so he's always panicked.
Surprise.
So now we do a night in San Diego, and we have to drive to LA. And I have these peaches I found, they're like softballs. It's dripping down my arm. And I have the other 3 peaches on the dashboard in a bag. Sam is next to me snorting lines of blow, and he looks up and he goes, oh my God, it's another crossing. And he goes, are you out of your fucking mind? And he takes the peaches and throws them out the window. I go, what are you doing? He goes, fruits and vegetables. I go, dude, that one's looking for Mexicans. It's the Mexican crossing. Get out and get my peaches. I will do peach.
Fabulous. And now, Dan, you go into your questions you have.
I couldn't imagine that trip right there. That already sounds like an amazing trip in and of itself.
It was entertaining for about a year. Then it became tedious, and then it became ugly, and then I left.
Everything always starts entertaining before you can't take it.
Yeah, and I wound up marrying his sister-in-law, but we're divorced now.
Wow. That was a really interesting way to wrap that one up.
Yeah, well, she's still my friend, so.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
In fact, the 2 times I've gone down and opened for Paulie, she's been there.
No way.
She does stand up too sometimes, yeah.
Oh, that's way cool. I didn't know that.
How exciting.
I'm learning more and more. The longer I sit here. Fascinating.
You know, I know Paulie since he's 8 years old.
What? Oh, yeah, you would.
I heard, so I was there for, over at Wiseguys when he did his one-man show. You had opened for him and you tell a story about that. It was
I'm going to tell a few more. You know, some I can't.
Gotcha.
But, I'll try some of the cuter ones.
Yeah, I found those are very, very fascinating stories right out the gate.
I was close with his mother. And before the strike, she was a different person. And about 6 or 7 of us had this inner circle. And a group of us kind of helped raise Paulie. So.
Wow.
What was that like?
Well, one morning, I have to get up to get him to Malibu by 9 in the morning, which is like an hour and a half of traffic for school. And I go, what? I thought you go to Beverly Hills High or something like that. He goes, surf class, dude. No, I'm from Jersey. When you're applying for a job, who would ever say, can you hang 10? But, you know, that's the cultural difference. So that
East
was
meets West.
different. But Paulie was just a smaller version of himself. At some point, he was able, around 12 or 13, to start to put it into more of a character. But he's not. That's him. It's just
Wow.
him. There's no character.
Just Paulie
So
being
look-
Paulie.
Huh?
It looks like his persona.
I'm sorry?
So like Dan was saying, it's just Paulie. So when he's on stage, it looks like a persona, but it's just really him.
I think anybody that just is themselves is a tad amped up version of themselves. I speak exactly like I do
wow.
on stage. I don't tell a dirty joke, but I've been accused of being dirty. But that's just people that are jealous because if they listen, I don't tell a dirty joke. I just say fucking shit a lot. And I remember years ago, I did some kind of one-nighter and I get there, the guy knows me, he goes, hey, there's 4 nuns in the front. I said, well, you know, I don't tell any dirty jokes, we'll be good. And I don't know, about 4 minutes in, whatever, I went, fuck. I looked right at one of the nuns and I go, you know what's good about this, sister? She said, what? And I go, you have to forgive me. And they laughed and I moved on.
That's it. Did they laugh? Did they laugh? That's all that's important.
Well, Dan, hit us with some of your questions.
All right. So yeah, I kind of want to back up a minute. So we went from Jersey to LA to go pursue acting. Didn't get into acting, you found comedy. And then in between that, how did you get into writing then? Like how did you get to Rose? Like how did we get to that point right there?
I can't spell and I'm a tad dyslexic. It was nothing I thought about. I realized it took me about 9 years to figure out who I was. Thank God there was a Comedy Store. And when I realized just, you know, do what I do, nobody can really write for me because I don't tell jokes. Most of my peers disrespect what I do. They go, oh, it's easy and he's lazy. He works the crowd. And the majority of people work the crowd, go, where are you from? Oh, that's nice. I have material I bounce in and out of that looks like I'm making it up. And I'm very quick-witted. Plus, I'll remember everybody I talk to. If I do an hour and a half show at the end, I connect everybody I talk to. And that's how I close the show. And you will literally hear them go, how the hell is he doing that? It's just years and years of this. But, you know, I always get, you're not doing that audience stuff, are you? Now, critics in the audience don't see it that way. It just seems to be comics.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, I can't tell you how many comics said, you know, what you do doesn't work. And I go, well, you follow what I just did.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
And I get bored listening to the same crap. I don't know how comics do that. So I also think if it's fresh for that crowd, they respect it a little more because they go, well, Joni ain't going to be here next show. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
And I remember Buddy Hackett said to me, well, what are you going to do if the audience doesn't want to talk to you? I go, I can make it look like they're talking to me. And John Biner used to have this show called Comedy on the Road. And I did it like 5 times. And they called me and I said, I don't want to do it anymore. And they go, it's in Acapulco. And I go, oh, maybe. And he goes, we'll let you do what you want, but you have to go first. Because normally they'll go just tell jokes. They don't want me talking to the audience because it's unpredictable to them. Well, I came out and I made it look like I was talking to the audience. I never did. But I was with Gene Pompa, the marijuana comic. I forget his name. He did the marijuana logs.
Jeffrey,
maybe. No,
Jeffrey,
no.
no.
These are real guys. And
Sick burn.
Yeah, it was a whole different, it's a whole different, anyway, these guys would sit by the pool and write material. And I'd knock at their door the day we got in and I go, you in AA? They go, yeah. And I go, give me the bottle of tequila the hotel left. So they just think, I'm older than them then. And I don't know. I'm not an improv guy. I really don't know them. So I'd go down to the pool and I go, what are you girls doing? They go, working on our act, aren't you? And I go, no. Now I get there and they're lined up against the wall and the show's being seated. And I thought they had beepers on. It's a timer that will let them know when their time is up. So they go, well, what do you do? I go, I just say good night because I know what time it is. And they go, well, what are you going to do tonight? And I go, well, I'm going to spend 3 minutes thanking John Biner. And I think they think I'm an ass because that's how I come off to people. Did I lose you?
No.
No, we're here.
Oh, I don't have a picture.
Uh-oh.
Can you see me?
We see you just
Yeah, we
fine.
can see you.
All right, then I don't need. Anyway, I forgot what I was just telling you.
That you, I was so
God.
caught up.
Oh,
John Biner.
So I go on stage, and as luck would have it, John Biner's sitting 2 seats in the front. So I look and I go, I want to thank John Biner for having me here. And as luck would have it, he stands up and goes, no, Allan, I want to thank you for being here. And I go, no, John, I want to thank you. And this went on a few times. And then I looked at my watch and said, sit down, John. And the comics just lost it in the back. They went, this guy's for real. And when I came off, the producer said, I made a mistake. Hey, what's that? Because I should have never put you first because the show tanked after that. I just have a bigger personality than most.
Yes.
It was from the training I got. I walk into some clubs today and, if it's an amateur night, I don't say anything. Who the hell knows me? And I'll come off and they go, what the hell was that? Where you been? In my day,
Around.
you really had to be trained. Now they go, oh, I have a special out. No, you shot something with your phone. And so many specials are out. Some nights I just go like to Netflix and go, never heard of that guy. And I'll look and I'll go, oh, 3 years ago. And, he either jumped too soon, wasn't ready, didn't have follow-up. I don't kind of get where it's at today, but I don't think that's my age. I'm just a little tougher on humor.
Yes. I don't know how you go ahead, Dan. I'm talking too much.
Oh, no, you're good. That's why we're here. We're here to talk. We're here to interact, get to know each other a little
What's
better.
your next question, Dan?
I just wanted to all right, so when you moved out there, did you move out there by yourself or with your folks? And how did your folks react when they heard that you wanted to be an actor, now comedian, now writer?
I was an actor as a child, so it wasn't too much of a shock.
Oh, perfect. So they were just kind of rolled with it?
Well, no, I don't think they thought, it's show business. Who the hell wants their kid in that? I know when I said I was doing comedy, my grandfather thought I should be put away for a time. Because nobody found me funny.
So you've been kind of like an actor since you were younger. So did your folks got you into it? Were they into acting, or what did your folks do or did you just decide to do that when you were young?
I briefly modeled, and around 10 maybe, my mom said, want to try commercials? And that was that.
Wow. All right. From there, that's pretty interesting.
I remember when I started on the Roseanne show, all the writers had their earliest headshot up, and most of it was, when they did stand-up. I came in and put one up at me at 7, and I looked at them, I go, anybody want to tell me about your struggles and tribulations in show business? So
Anyone?
yeah, exactly.
I didn't think
Yeah,
so.
they had a new respect for the asshole after that.
There you go. You gotta get it somehow, right?
Yep.
All right. So since you had to do TV and be on sets and all that other stuff, have you ever had to deal with a difficult actor? And if so, how do you go about dealing with them?
If they're old show business, I have no problem because I have an immense amount of knowledge about the history of show business, so I love them. I've worked them like Debbie Reynolds,
Oh my gosh.
Shecky Green, Tony Curtis, just to be
Oh.
around them. You know, these are, I couldn't even believe it. But I've never really had a difficult actors. When you do a sitcom for a while, some of them might not get along, so you have to deal with that. Someone might have a drug problem, so you have to deal with that. But for the most part, I respect the talent. Like when we got Debbie Reynolds to do an episode of Roseanne, Monday is the table read. They rehearse for 2 days and then block it and shoot on Friday. She looks at me and goes, "My daughter has a better idea." And, you know, I don't think another sitcom would have paid attention to that. But I said, well, if it's Carrie, let's hear her idea. And then I think 2 days later, we started all over with her script. But, you know, I'm not going to argue with Debbie Reynolds. She's in show business since she's 16 years old.
Wow.
And I just love
That's
being
an
around them.
incredible read.
Yeah, the younger ones aren't, I find, as friendly. It depends on who they are. But old
they are or
Hollywood
who
is
they know?
fantastic. Huh?
Who they are or who they know.
Well, the older ones know a career is up and down. They've been hit. Like when Debbie came on the set, she called me over and said, "I think I'm in the wrong trailer." I go, "What's the matter?" "Well, it's loaded with flowers and gifts from Tiffany's." I go, "No, you're in the right trailer." Wait a minute. Aren't you Debbie Reynolds, the legend? She goes, "Allan, I haven't been treated like this in 10 years. I go, "Shame on them."
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. Good for you. Yeah. And bad for them.
And you learn. I had Milton Berle on a credit tag where he would dress up as a woman, what he, you know, was famous for. And we shoot it once, maybe twice. And he calls me over. He goes, "Allan, was it okay? Because I don't think," and at this point, he's like 82 maybe. And he's going on and on. And I go, "Milton, you got the job." And all I could do is walk away thinking, God, it never goes away.
You know, Shecky Green lives here in Las Vegas.
You know the old Vegas stories about Shecky, right?
No.
When Caesars had that fountain, which you could easily get to because you had to drive around it, Shecky was a heavy, heavy boozer. And he was drunk and he drove his caddy convertible into that fountain. And as they were dragging him out of it, he screamed, "No hot wax."
Oh my God.
I think Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show gave him an open bail bond for when he got arrested here in Vegas.
Good for him.
You
Well,
know,
yeah,
in those
there you
days, they
go.
ruled Vegas, the Buddy Hackett's, the Shecky Greens.
Wow.
What was that?
They ruled Vegas, these guys. So they all knew each other, you know, and there was a camaraderie that I think is long gone from stand-up today, too. That's why I kind of enjoyed whatever it was called. What's the club called I was in?
Wise guy.
Wise guy.
Wiseguys. The reason I enjoyed Wiseguys is that they were very supportive.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, they give you the time. Doesn't matter. Like I think, yeah, they're really trying to support the local comedians right now. I think it's an amazing place too.
And there's only 1 billion of them.
Exactly.
Are you
That's
going
all.
to do a drive-by special?
Never. It
Love
seems
it.
like, well, how do I put it? If it was a Tarzan movie, it's where the elephants go to die. You know, you have to be clean. It's not what I do.
There you go. Good for you.
And it's, what are they giving you, $1.98?
That much?
I get it. I get it. Good for other people. You know what I mean? It's just not my cup of tea. Plus, I don't think stand-up should be on TV. It's a live medium in my book. You know, one time I go to the Laugh Factory and the owner says to me, "Don't be dirty. The Rick D show is here to see you," when he was getting his show. And I do what I do. I don't give a shit. About 2 months go by and I'm in San Francisco and I get a call. Is this Allan? I went, yeah, who's this? It's the Rick D show. We thought your name was Steven and we've been calling every Steven for 2 months. Now, this is about 7 o'clock at night and I'm in Half Moon Bay outside of San Francisco. Can you do the show tomorrow and be here by 4? 1 o'clock to rehearse? I go, sure. Well, I stayed at the party I was at and left, I guess, about 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Anyway, I got there for the rehearsal and my hair used to be very dark. So when I don't shave, I just look like somebody that killed everybody. And I went to the mic and the director goes, go ahead, do your stand-up. And I just went, man, I can't remember right now. He goes, oh, good God, I hope you'll be all right at 4. Now I go home and I clean up and I come back and people are scurrying around and I hear somebody go, the Comics and No Show. And I tap her on the shoulder and I go, I'm the comic. She goes, no, this is a scruffy looking evil man. I went, that's me. So needless to say, I had one of the best sets a comic could do. And after that, if somebody said, well, you're dirty, I go, well, listen, I just did the kind of crap you guys do. I don't like it. You can't feel it when an audience is being prompted or whatever. I just don't think comedy should be on TV.
Got it.
I agree. I like it. It's a face-to-face interaction deal. It should be there for it. I agree.
Well, to me, it's when I did arenas, people go, how are you going to talk to the audience? I love when they make it sound like everything's impossible. I did the same show.
Really?
Yeah. I just had to learn to talk a tad slower because the sound bounces. Other than that, a lot of times, you'd hear a faint heckle and I would just go, row 320, seat R, shut up. And I would continue on. And interestingly enough, when I toured with the Outlaws, Sam hated it if I talked to the audience.
So
I pretty much just did an act.
Oh, that must have been miserable.
Well, yeah. And then one time he usually would take Carl with him for certain jobs, but Carl couldn't make it. So I did it and it was in the round and he was already messed up, but he can't handle things in the round. And I do what I do. Well, I got a standing ovation. He was so angry. He didn't talk to me for 2 days because he couldn't follow it. And he just kept saying, no more talking to the audience.
Ridiculous.
Well, it's what I do, but people, they think it's very easy. It is not. And I have thousands of jokes that I make look ad-libbed.
But you kind of like work it in to make you kind of make it look like, oh, I didn't see this
I'm
coming.
doing it so long. I'm doing it so long. If you're a shrink, I got a shrink joke. If you're a cop, I got cop stuff. If you're from a certain state, I got that stuff. But it's not stuff I do all the time because what I like to do, especially the last 10 years, is come off the stage and say to somebody, I didn't tell one joke.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's even more fun.
When I was married, I agreed to do a cancer show, Not Thinking. And I go there, it's about 200 people in different stages of cancer. And the guy opening the show is mediocre at best. And when he's done, he says to the audience, my cancer's back throughout my whole body, but I'm a fighter. And he reads something from Band of Brothers. And when he's done, he goes to talk and I'm in the back and I just stand up and go, get the fuck off. And the whole room turns and I just talk as I walk up there and I go, you're killing me. And I had cancer, never talked about it. And for the next hour and 20 minutes, everything was about cancer. And when I was done, my wife at the time I tried to write everything down. I got caught up in listening to it. What the hell was that? And I go, you tell me.
Wow.
When I first did comedy in the early 80s, clubs were brand new. And it's now the Comedy Works, but originally it was across the street from where it is. And it was called Basins Up. It was a jazz room. And they asked me to, I think I might have been maybe the first or second headliner in there. Anyway, it was packed. And when I'm done, they come into the dressing room. They go, boy, that was great. They're going to love you next show. I go, how many tickets have we sold? He goes, oh, we don't turn the audience. And I go, I'm out of material. And of course, they think you're kidding. I had one thing left. I did it. And I did another hour. And when I was done, they go, no material. And that's when I said, you know what? If I push myself and get in the right space, I can just stand here and make it up as we go. And that's what I like to do. And at this point in my career, I only do what I like to do. Mr. Ziegfeld's not going to come in and discover me tomorrow. That ship has sailed. So now when somebody, when I was at work in the clubs, I worked a club in Memphis, and the guy weighed 400 pounds. And as I walk in, I'm standing behind him, and I hear him say, whoever this comic is, if he wants to get paid, better introduce himself to me. So he moves, I move. And you know how you can sense something's behind you? And he turns, and I take his hand and go, I'm Allan, give me my check. So 2 nights later, we're sitting at the bar, and he goes, listen, you're not going to do that heckling shit you do tonight, are you? I go, is that what I do? He goes, yeah. And I call over his bartender, and I go, no Budweiser will be served tonight. And the owner goes, what are you talking about? And I go, well, we're partners now, aren't we? He said, what? I go, you don't tell me what the fuck to do. I'm here for 5 days. That's how stupid you are. But long story short, I used to open up the laugh factories around the country. And one is going into Memphis. And this guy calls me up. It's about 5 months later. And he goes, I'll give you $7,500. And I said, I am going to take half of that, go to the other club and make sure you fold. And that's what happened.
Wow.
But a lot of these guys, I remember I worked one club. I'm in a hotel room with the 2 owners, every kind of drug you can think of, waitresses, strippers, and they pull out a contract and go, we want to manage you. And I look at them and I go, here's the deal. I'm the fuck up. I need real people. And those 2 guys had a beautiful club, sat 400 people. And 2 years later, just like Studio 54, they went to jail for not reporting the taxes properly.
Oh my goodness.
But, I never cared for the road. The places, normally you'd work 1 or 2 times a year in a place. I'd work 6 and 7. If somebody canceled, they called me. If I needed money, I could call clubs and go, well, I'm coming in, and they'd rearrange their schedules. So I didn't have to, and I had the Comedy Store where I made a very nice living. That main room in the old days, you got 50% of the room flipped with the comics. You get $500-$600 for a 10-minute set.
Wow.
So I really didn't have to travel as much. So if any of these club owners did something I didn't like, one time I was in Amarillo, Texas, and the guy who ran the club, his father was owned a bunch of nightclubs and got him the little comedy club. So he thinks he's a big deal in town.
Uh-huh.
And no heat. I didn't even know it snowed in Amarillo. And the second day I tell him there's no heat. I said, there's no cable TV and there's no phone. If I wanted to go to jail, I'll commit a crime. Thursday, he comes in and the fireplace is going. He goes, well, it's nice and warm in here. And he looks around and he goes, where's the coffee table? I go, in the fucking fireplace. I said it was cold here. And I'm watching cable and there's a phone. So, yeah, a lot of club. Oh, and here's how this one winds up. Saturday night, I flew in the girl I was dating at the time. And I go in his office and there's literally 40 tape decks recording. I go, what are you doing? Because I record everybody's act. I go, it's against the law, you know that. What do you do with it? Oh, I make tapes and give them to my friends. I go, against the law. You won't be doing that with me. Well, who says? I go, I'm not fucking going on until they go off. And I look at my girlfriend and I go, you stand here. I'll go near the stage. When they go off, I'll go on. And they introduce me and I go on and I just sit on the stool and stare at the audience. And they don't know me, so they think it's a bit. And then it gets uncomfortable and I hear the girl go, okay. And I go, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So the second show, the mayor is there and he says to me, you're not going to do that heckling shit with the mayor, are you? I go, no, absolutely not. And I go out and I sniff around like I'm smelling something. I go, somebody step in, mayor. And I kept that up for about 10 minutes and ripped him a new ass. I come off and I'm in the guy's office and he's screaming at me how I embarrassed him. I'll never work there again. And there's a knock on the door and the mayor walks in. He goes, hey, would you come to my barbecue tomorrow? I go, sure. We talk for a minute. He leaves. The guy says, the owner says, you're taking me, right? I go, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. A minute ago, I wasn't about to work here.
Mm-hmm. I love when they would tell me something. I was in Birmingham. See, I remember all of them.
I love it.
And the guy, the opener goes in and he counts out the money. 1, 2, 3. Middle goes in and he counts out the money. I go in and he puts an envelope in my hand. And I go, it's short. He goes, no, I counted it. I go, it's short. He goes, what? I go, I have pot scales. They're called my hand. I know exactly how much is in this check. It was 200 short.
Wow.
And, you know, and I can see he's irritated with me. And I go, say whatever you're going to say. I'm not coming back for you to cheat me again.
Wow.
Oh, I used to have comics call me, go, how did you get paid? I go, I started a fire in his office, which I did to those guys that got arrested. I watched them buy booze out the back door. So I knew this club was going under and it sat 400. And in between shows, I want to be paid in cash. And they go, Allan, we'd have to cash out every waitress. I go, I have nowhere to be.
I have nothing
I
to do,
literally
and I
went
might
on
do it.
stage with 12, I don't know, 2-foot bags full of change. And through my act, I would make change for the waitresses. But until they got that money, while they were deciding, I had read a Groucho Marx book where somebody kept him and his brothers waiting. So they set their trash can on fire. And that's what I did. And he comes in and he goes, oh my God, don't you see that? And I go, see it. I said it. Where's my money? So I had a different rep than most comics and I didn't play as many, you know, I didn't go out 50 weeks a year and any of that. I always felt the road was vaudeville and would come to an end.
Wow.
Did you do vaudeville?
No, I'm saying I think clubs in the beginning reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And it was going to come to an end. And now they'll take you if you have a Facebook following, a YouTube following. You have to be able to put asses in the seats. They don't care how good you are, nothing. In my day, I remember, God, I never worked for this guy either. Comedy Castle in Detroit. Jay Leno recommends me, Dave Coulier, Mike Binder. So I call him up and he goes, well, you came highly recommended. And this was before videotapes and everything. He goes, but how do I know you're funny? I said, well, I'll send you a picture of me smiling. And he went, what the fuck's your problem? I go, I don't answer dumb questions really well. So I never worked for him either.
I thought for sure you were going to get that one. Get that one. I thought for sure you were going to get that job.
Yeah. You know, they open a club. They think they're at show business.
Wow.
How hard is it to sit and watch people at an open mic?
I don't usually like watching comedy. Paulie's one-man show. I'm familiar with his life, so I find it entertaining. I'm rarely in an audience, but when I come, it kind of reminded me of the old days because there was a variety. Where when you're at the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory, it just seems like the same guy over and over. Not everybody's life is interesting. But, you know, there was a few quirky people. And I like the variety of it. Plus, I haven't done it in 20 years. Been in an amateur room, so I enjoyed it.
So did you step away from comedy and are now coming back?
I made a mistake when I was producing TV shows. I stopped comedy for 14 years. And then I
Oh,
went
wow.
back to it and I did the Rita Rudner special and a bunch of stuff. And around
Yes.
all of a sudden, I noticed things would change. I go to some place in the comic, go, oh, it's a legend. I go, no, I'm just an old comic. And the comedy clubs, you know, closed, most of them. And now with them reopening, you know, maybe if I had somebody rep me, I do clubs that people know me and call me. I do the Laugh Factory sometimes, Northern California sometimes. I don't push it. What I push is the writing. I have like 4 projects out there now I'm waiting to hear on. I don't join shows. I try to sell shows. So that's what I do.
So
How about- so
Rita,
Gina, do you think?
What's that?
Go ahead, Linda.
no, you go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say to do that, do you find it like important to like to surround yourself by like other writers and like entertainers and stuff like that?
No,
You're like, no, not really, not at all. Like,
no.
you're like,
Writing is a very solitary thing, but I will tell you, I collect people, so I've had nothing mostly except friends that are artists, comics, musicians, poets. These are the people that are interesting to me.
there you go, I agree. I'm with
So
you.
a lot of times, what I call the day walkers, a lot of times I try to avoid it.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Now, when you're working on things, my other questions that I want to is like, what do you do like in between like projects to like keep yourself in until
Cry.
like your next project? Like what keeps you motivated until like your next movie or your next role or your
Pain,
like what do you do in between there?
stare. I'm not the kind of writer that sits down every morning and writes.
Hmm.
My agent will call me and go, I have an idea, or if you do this, I can take it there, or it's Roseanne, and I'll develop shows and then we try to sell them. Sometimes my agent can do it. That's changed too. I had a pitch on a Zoom, which I thought would be a problem, but I figured out the trick to it. But you know, I used to go in and I'm very good in a room, so I could sell in the room. But they stopped doing that. They stopped doing a lot of stuff. A lot of steps I used to get paid for now, they just assume you're going to do.
You're like jobs and everything now, or like online. Like it's kind of weird. Like it's just so on that. Like, what do you tell somebody like trying to get into the industry right now? Like, like I said, things have changed so much.
If
Like,
they're
what
a
do you tell somebody
stand-up,
in stand up and writing, and like in somebody who wants to be
anybody that
like a
gets in the
director.
show business has to understand they either love it or they don't. Because if you don't make it, you're going to be very unhappy if that's the reason you got into it. There was a comedian named Richard Jenny that was very, very good. And from what I gather, he was frustrated with where his career was because he had done so many specials. He was very, very good. His sitcom briefly didn't work. And I think he got caught up in thinking that and he wound up killing himself.
Wow.
In
That's
fact, after the 14 years, it was the second time I was on stage after 14 years at the Laugh Factory, and he came outside and he said, how many times have you been up? I said, this is the second time in 14 years. He went, I don't get it. I go, well, I don't tell jokes. I just do me. Me has not changed. And when he walked away, my wife said, something's wrong with him. And I think he was gone a few days later. So if you get into this business, you can't get into it for the wrong reasons.
I'd like
Gotcha.
to ask a follow-up question, Dan. I'm going to interject a question. There's a lot of assholes in comedy, and there's a lot of people in comedy who are severely depressed, suicidal, in fact. So what do you have to say to assholes that have to be dicks to each other?
Well, if they're funny, I tolerate it. If they're not funny, there was a bar in Van Nuys, California, and two guys I knew did a comedy night. So when I was bored, I'd go down there. And one night he calls me up and says, Allan, I can't do it. Would you MC tonight? I went, sure. And I was helping a handicapped kid then who wanted to do comedy. It was a social and mental handicap. Asperger's, who knows what else. He didn't even look up to talk. Anyway, he'd been with me for months and he was going to go on that night. And he's a cross-dresser on top of it. So I'm at the bar and this guy comes up and he goes, you'll put this girl on instead of this guy. And I go, who the fuck are you? He goes, well, I'm the headliner tonight. And I go, well, you're not my boss. So he goes on and he's bombing. It's terrible. So I go up and he just sends the girl up and I go, honey, you're not on. And I do something from my act. I go, ever see the trunk of a Cadillac? You know, and they laugh. And I come off, he goes, how dare you call her the C word? This is what this guy says to me. And what got him is when I went on stage, he said, how about a round of applause for what's his name, whose career we watched go down the tubes. You know, I just didn't care for his attitude. Anyway, he's face to face with me. And he said, I said, I didn't say that. And he goes, well, I say you did. And with that, my other friend, who's probably about 62, takes my arm and he tells the other guy, he goes, get out of here. Don't come back. He goes, Allan, why did you make a fist? I go, I was going to knock that kid the hell out. He goes, what? And I go, I know a trick. If I hop up under his chin, I'll knock him out. What do you think? I'm going to take that crap? And it turns out, you know, people find him funny. But another comic named Mike Moratori said to him, you might have upset the wrong guy. So I know he's not a regular at the Comedy Store. So.
Okay,
Wow.
Dan, back to you.
Oh, that's crazy. That was
And
crazy.
as far as comics being depressed and suicidal, some have a reason to be. They're delusional. They're kidding themselves when they can't make a living. And others have to accept that's where the funny comes from.
Wow.
Ah,
You know, real happy people aren't that funny.
that's true. Yeah, they have
There
too
you
many
go.
things to live for, apparently. Good for them. Good for them. All right. So at the end of the day, like, what do you do to unwind after like a long day? Like, what did you used to do like after like Roseanne and things like that? Like, did you have like other like outlets like other than like most of them find like drinking, gambling, all sorts? Like, what did you do to unwind?
I don't think I ever unwinded.
You're still wound up.
You know, if I wanted to smoke pot, I went for a walk. So that's usually what I did, but I do that all the time.
There you go. So it's never
Um,
too early for that, is it?
You know, sometimes I would just go home and watch TV or I'd go do spots.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But, you know, it was a tiring job. So mostly, you know, you just want to go home.
Great answer. I like it. And then my last, the other one I was going to ask, like, is there anything like as a writer, comedian, like, is there anything that we can do like as like a whole community to like give back to each other? Like, how do we do that? Because I'm watching like our community right now, like we're a tight knit group. At the same how like
Well, I
not-
saw some of that. The last time I was down there with the guy named Andrew Hunt.
Yes.
oh yeah, Mr. Andrew Hunt.
And he took me to these other rooms that were there. And I saw somebody talking to him about a job that has nothing to do with show business. I saw a lot of supportive comics. But there's good and bad to that. The group I started with, I had keys to all the clubs, the comedy stores. And we used to stay in the Westwood store till 5 a.m, about 6, 7 of us, and do our acts for each other. And we were brutal in critiquing it. But we didn't kid ourselves. We knew exactly where we were on the ladder. Right? See, today, a lot of people are very delusional. I killed. Like, well, maybe you heard something I didn't.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's a different business. I still see where they'll help each other. Like in my day, you could call up a comic and go, hey, what's the name of the guy you just worked for in Detroit? Would you call him and tell him I want to work there? But, you know, none of that they do anymore. Now it's like, are you on the computer? I'll take a look. I'll look at your YouTube, or I'll look at your this and let you know. It's bullshit.
Yeah, like
I
back in
once
the
got
day,
a
like, you had-
meeting. Once got a meeting with 3 networks because I took a comedian in that had a video that went viral and had 5 million hits. They didn't even see his stand up. They just heard 5 million hits.
Yeah, like back in the day, like you had to like go out, hit the road, go from city to city, like have people see you, like then finally get on like TV. Like you had to like actually like work. You had to have talent. Like you had to be
Well, there
funny.
was nowhere to go
Now you
except
just
the
need
talk
numbers.
shows. You can only go to talk shows back then, and Johnny Carson is the only one that made you a star.
I'm gonna give
Other
it a
than
thumbs
that,
up.
there was no place to do stand up unless some variety show hired you.
Wow. And that's just it. Well, I guess that's one way it's changed. Yeah, like I said, I kind of miss the days where you had to go somewhere to actually be seen, not just the internet. And you're like, oh, done.
I miss the days when there wasn't 4,000 bars that claim they do comedy.
That too.
You know, it's no game was on that night, or they didn't have women's night. Now it's comedy night.
Yep.
So Rita Rudner is one of Rita and Wendy Liebman are the 2 women I admire the most for their presentation.
I have hired Wendy as a writer at points, and Rita was at the Comedy Store at some point in the early days, and I just loved her. She's a lovely lady, very funny woman.
Yeah. So having worked with them, is there anything funny that you recall about being around them?
Well, the Rita Rudner show was a live taping. It was, I think it was called Rita Rudner and 4 Potential Ex-Husbands. But one of the comics, Greg and Otto, got caught in a storm in New York and couldn't make it. So it was David Gee, John Fox. It was his last gig, if you know who he was. So you're basically just getting ready. So there's really nothing funny. The director knew me, so he allowed me to do what I do. And I listened to everything. And Rita, who opened the show, talked about something where she used aspirin. And in the middle of my act, I'm talking to a guy and he goes, he's a chemist. I go, well, get up and cart your ass backstage so we can talk. And they laughed at that. I said, I'm sure you have something in your glove compartment. I have something in my glove compartment. We'll get some aspirin from Rita. And before you know it, we'll be high as a kite and bowling buddies. And the Rita Rudner thing got the biggest laugh because they couldn't believe I remembered it from 40 minutes ago. But other than that, it was just fun. You know, it was a live taping. So there's really not a lot of shenanigans going on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So little
Was
Miss
there-
Wendy Liebman, do you have anything cute about that interaction?
No, I just, sometimes when Roseanne would go on the road back in the day, I would hire certain female writers because I liked the way they wrote. And she was one of them at one point. Funny lady.
Very, very
So is
funny.
there anybody you're writing for now?
Writing for stand up or shows?
Yes.
Stand up, no. I'm working on 2 projects with Roseanne, another project with Bill Murray's brother, John. And that also involves Rob Schneider's brother, John.
Oh, wow.
And I have a movie floating around over at Hallmark.
Super.
Okay,
What's
sounds
the
like you've
movie?
been busy.
No, it sounds it, but not really.
It only sounds that way. It only sounds that way.
The movie at Hallmark is a Christmas film.
Nice.
So
Oh,
we'll
wow.
see. It's only nice if they buy it.
That'd
Well-
be great if they buy it.
What's that?
It'll be great if they buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Fantastic.
Because then I'll give them a St. Patty's Day one, a Valentine's Day one.
Give them a yearly calendar.
Yeah.
Good for
What
you.
would you
Good
like
for
to say in closing to younger comics coming behind you?
Don't jump. Um, you know, good
That's the
luck.
greatest advice yet.
Yeah,
I love
good
it.
luck. You know,
That
it's
is
a
fucking
roller
hilarious.
coaster. You got to understand it's a roller coaster.
It
You
has
know,
its ups
I'm
and
friends
downs.
with Dice Clay, and there's a great example of up and down, and up.
Love the Dice. Yeah. He had his career huge, and then he was like gone for a minute, and then he was like in Entourage or something like that. And got into, like,
Entourage,
movies.
Lady
Then he got into
Gaga
movies
movie, Woody Allen movie. He's in the Pam and Tom movie that's on.
Yeah.
He's just a great actor, and you know, now he's on and up. But that's what a career is. You got to be able to weather the ups and downs, and you got to accept the fact it might never happen. You know, I never thought I'd be funny, and at 30, when I realized I was funny, I went, now what? I was very lost because it was never my desire to be. All I wanted to do was sit in a lounge in Vegas, and they're gone. I got to do the Dunes with the Outlaws of Comedy, where we broke Sinatra's attendance record here in Vegas. And eventually we were responsible for breaking the language barrier here in Vegas. Nobody in the main room did what we did. And
That's
the old
extraordinary.
stars used to do shows at 2 a.m. for the Help and the other stars. So in a 2-week period, I think we did like 30 shows, something crazy. And we did 2 a.m. shows, and every star on the strip would come.
What is it to break a language barrier?
You were not allowed to curse in Vegas.
Okay, got it.
Pryor did it, and they threw him out for years and years and years. You know, and here we were. I mean, it was a rough show. You know, Sam was rough, and the 3 before him were pretty good. And I remember we did Madison Square Garden, and I guess a writer for GQ titled his article, "The Comedy of Hate." And he said, Allan Stephan's the first one up. And I did a thing about getting burgers at an AM, PM, and asking the guy what color it is. And I did an Arab accent. Anyway, he said, I was racist. We were all racist. That's how we looked at it. But the audience didn't. You know, sometimes I remember one time Sam threw a Rolling Stone writer off the bus, like you see in the movies.
Yeah.
And the article that came out wasn't what it was supposed to be. It started with the Outlaws of Comedy are Satan worshipers that kill cats on top of the Hyatt House roof. And after every paragraph was a devil with a pitchfork. Well, everybody believed that. So it was just, you know, what are you going to do?
Did that help sell tickets?
Yes and no. It helped the 3 different agencies try to arrest us at an airport one time because they thought we were moving kilos of cocaine. And I think that writer reported it like that. And we were followed with helicopters and cars out front of our houses. And finally, they make the arrest and there's nothing there. So we wound up signing autographs and them apologizing. But I'm pretty sure it was that writer.
Dan, do you have any other questions before we close out?
No. I think that was a fascinating stories. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you sharing it. I
You're
appreciate your
welcome.
advice.
Thank you.
This
You
is
know,
our first.
I'm old. I could do this for the next 10 hours.
I bet I have 10 years on you.
Well, maybe, but I have a lot of stories. I'm around a long time.
I love all your stories. You can go on all day as far as I'm concerned. Right, Dan?
No, I love it. Absolutely love it. Like I said, stories, and more stories. I love them.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you want to tell more stories? We're open to it. If
I
you
don't know
are.
what you possibly want to hear.
Yes, anything.
Here, I'll give you a quick one. Roseanne calls me and says, will you pass a background check for the FBI? I go, I don't know. Let's find out. So she calls me up about a week later and said, you passed. I go, well, somebody's not doing their job. And around that time was the Monica Lewinsky thing. and we're going to a fundraiser at the Harold Lloyd Estate in Beverly Hills for Clinton's going to speak. And she picks me up in a limo and has a beret on. And I said, you have to take that off. Why? I go, you know damn well why. And we get there, we get out of the limo, and the FBI checks you there and the Secret Service. And she didn't have her pass, so they weren't going to let her in. So I said, honey, walk over there a minute. And I turned to the guy and I go, do you know who that is? He went, yeah. And I go, please don't make me walk back there and tell her she can't get in if you know who she is. Give me a minute. Then they let us in. And I didn't know afterwards we were going to meet him. And when you go to meet a president, it's like meeting the Queen. So you line up and a guy says to you, do not touch the president of the United States. Just say hello. And I'm the first in line. And I went over, and what you don't know is they said something in his ear. So I went over, and before I could say anything, he goes, Allan, what a pleasure to meet you. And I was thrown by that. So I took his hand, shook it, pulled him to me, and I put my arm around him. And I see his left hand wave a little bit. And that was letting the Secret Service know not to come get me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So everything they said not to do, the president just did for them not to do.
Well, I did it, but you're not expecting him to know your name.
Well, yeah, that must have been a thrill.
I don't know how they knew my name. They must go everybody that showed up there. And he must have something in his ear. They're feeding him the info.
They're the Secret Service.
But it really throws you. Now that house, I don't know if you know who Harold Lloyd was, but his house was redone by the guy who owns the Ralph Markets and Smith's. And it was just like the old days. It's beyond beautiful. So Whoopi Goldberg and I are upstairs looking around at the art. And two Secret Service guys go, what are you doing? And Whoopi goes, we're looking at, the art. And I go, look at this place. And I start to give them the history. And there's no expression, no nothing. They go downstairs. And I go to say something again, and Whoopi goes, Allan, they don't give a shit who we are. So we went downstairs.
That must have been flattering, yeah.
Well, it's one time I was in Texas, and Reagan was going to come by the hotel to go to the convention center about a half a mile away. It was a presidential thing where all the cars are in a row. Well, I had never seen that. So I'm sitting in the window of my hotel room, and my door has come right off the hinges. It's five guys in suits. They throw me to the floor, and one steps on my neck. They empty my closet. They turn out all the drawers onto the floor. And then they go, why are you in that window? I go, I'm sure you guys know this by now, but Reagan's going to go by, and I wanted to see the parade. I said, I'm a comedian. And I showed them the flyer, and they left. So I have to call down to the desk and literally go, I need a new room. I don't have a door. So I get in the elevator, and as luck would have it, it's those guys are staying in the same hotel. And my back is to them, and I just go, I'm not going to point fingers, but somebody has to come fold my clothes. No emotion, no nothing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, to them, I'm just a sniper.
Yeah. Geez, you are not funny right now, sir, to them.
Yeah, the guy's got his foot on my neck, and I'm going, comic.
Yeah. We don't think you're funny, sir. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with those guys. They have no sense of humor.
Yeah, they don't come across as comedians to me, as they'd understand our brand of comedy. I don't think they'd dig it.
Well, even when they weren't working, I mean, it's kind of funny to tell them to come fold your clothes.
He does that. Mr. Allan does that. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this has been our extreme pleasure.
Well, thank
you
you.
so much.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
it's been a
see
lot of
you.
fun.
I'm going to do Paulie's show on the 28th, next
Where's
Monday
that
at Wiseguys.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So come on out.
Absolutely.
What
love
time
to.
is that?
I think it starts at 7:30.
Okay, we'll post that. And where do you want people to stalk you on the internet?
Well, if they can find me, good luck, but I am on Facebook.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well,
So do you have like an Instagram or anything like that?
Yes, but I never go to it.
Good for you. I'm kind of with you.
I rarely do.
I
You
had
know,
to get one. And I did.
I don't think I have anything important to say. Every now and then I post on Facebook. I posted something political, and I actually had to put on there. It's not that I agree with this. I just simply find it fucking funny because people are out of control.
They are. Everyone's has an opinion and has to tell you what they think of
Oh,
everything. that
and
you
if you
post.
want to see me, I think on the 24th, I'll be on True TV, the 24th of April. And
And what are you gonna be on
sometime in May, I'll be on Showtime on the series Vice.
Oh wow, awesome.
So
Got
that's
it.
where you can see me next.
what are you doing on True TV?
I think it's a Roseanne documentary.
Oh, cool.
And the Vice is called The Darker Side of Comedy. And
What's that one about?
well, I said to the guy, so I don't really like the title of this. He goes, me either, but it's Vice.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing a fluff piece.
But
But, I went and they asked questions about comedy and Roseanne. So we'll see what they do.
Super. Way to go. We'll be watching you and
awesome.
I'll
Best
post
of luck.
it.
It sounds incredible, amazing.
All righty. Thank you.
You're awesome. What a rock star you are. Thanks
Thank you.
again.
All
Well
right.
done.
Maybe
Thank
I
you,
see you
Allan.
Monday.
What?
Absolutely.
Maybe I'll see you Monday.
Yes.
All
See you
right.
then.
Have
We'll
a
be
good
there.
one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again.